Welcome to this week's episode of Where That Baby's Kodak, entitled Back to Wakanda, where we're going on a journey exploring topics that the Black community will benefit from. Today's topic will discuss all the benefits of being involved in your local community. I am so excited to be back and get some good content out to y'all. I know we said it would be about mental health, but due to an unexpected change with one of my special guests, we had to make some shifts in the schedule. And so I would like to give a shout out to my special guest for being extremely flexible, since this was a last minute addition and change to the schedule. And I know that everything going on in the nation with this new administration might be disheartening for listeners. So this episode will help refocus you on what is truly important, which is making an impact and change on your level. So the events happening nationally doesn't have to have too large of an impact on your life. So all we have to do is just focus and build up our community, and then we can create a livable and sustainable environment for us and our kids to grow in. So each episode, y'all know I'll be joined by special guests, and these special guests have experience in the topics they are discussing. So I will simply be your guide while they lead us in conversation. These guided conversations will be your metaphorical coat as we navigate this cold life. So think of these guided conversations as my attempt of keeping you all warm. Today's special guest will tell us how to build community, and together we will all build our own Wakanda around the U.S. So I know her as Morgan, or as friend, different titles. And Morgan is born and raised in Port Salerno, Florida. She graduated from Clark Advanced Learning Center and moved to Rochester, New York on a basketball scholarship. She then moved to Syracuse and graduated from Lemoyne College in 2020 with a bachelor's in biology. She loves to cook and sing aside from playing basketball. And y'all, when I tell y'all she can sing, she can sing. Welcome, Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Alan?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Do I look like one of those podcast bros?
You do, actually.
with the outfit?
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. So last episode, we got an inside scoop on workers' compensation and claims. And during those times of recovery from your injury, it's important to have a strong community that can coalesce around you. So can you just explain to our listeners why it's so important to build community?
Absolutely. It is very important to build a community because, for one, it takes a village. I think that's important individually and collectively because having a strong community allows for personal growth, allows for just personal skills and learning and being educated with those around you, the history of your community and the people who helped contribute to build that community. And it's also important for our youth because without a community, they won't have guidance. Not everyone is blessed with people in their life, to family members in their life, to guide them and to lead youth throughout their life. So that's where our community comes in for educational purposes, just to have a sustainable environment to live and to be able to grow together.
Yeah, and I love how you said that about the youth, because like Whitney Houston said, I believe the children are our future.
And they are. Yeah, exactly. And they are. And that's the point of the community, because that generation, that younger generation, is going to be our future. Mm-hmm. So in order for them to be able to learn how to lead and learn how to carry this community on, somebody's got to be there to teach them. Mm-hmm. And that's where our community is going to come in with. So
exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. So, we just witnessed a new administration come and take over the federal government. And, while it's so important to vote in these national offices like our Congress members, our President of the United States, I personally would argue that, it's more important to vote in our more local elections, the state and local elections, such as our mayors, our judges, district attorneys, and our sheriffs, those people that impact our day-to-day living. And so I want to know, what do you think of that take? And if you do agree, why do you agree? If you disagree, why do you disagree?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually agree with you. And I never really realized that until I got older, because growing up and we're encouraged to vote for a president, we're always focused on the president for the nation. But I think it's also crucial to think about the leaders in our community, our state representatives, our commissioners, mayor, and things like that. And the reason for that is so those people can focus on the issues strictly in our community. And I think it's best to start small instead of starting with thinking about the nation, because if we take care of home, if we take care of our small town, it will be able to affect the nation as a whole. But we can't start as a whole until we start at home. We are always taught that everything starts at home. Everything starts within our community. In order for us to be bigger and better outside of our community, we've got to be bigger and better in our community. And voting locally, it gives you the chance to be able to have a more personal connection with your representatives. It allows you to attend town meetings. It allows you to be able to give your opinion and let your voice be heard versus, going to like an inauguration or like, going to see the president. Most times you'll just sit and wait and say hello. That's not really the time to, address issues and allow your voice to be heard. So I think just voting locally, you can have a more personal and a direct connection with the leaders in your town so you can know exactly what's going on in your schools, in your hospitals, in your homes, just here in your community, your neighbors, and just knowing the policies and laws in your community.
Exactly. Well, perfect. It reminds me of this song. I'm old school. I'm very old school. My parents, raised me old school. And there's a song. I can't remember the group that sing it, but they say sweep around your own front door. Yes. Or you try to sweep around mine.
Yes.
Flush around me.
Exactly.
You gotta. The Bible talks about like a man can't be in charge of a church if they can't take care of their own home. So we have to control and take care of our own house before we worry about the bigger nation and everything.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
All right, so certainly we should be volunteering, either giving our money or our time to local agencies that are out there. So can you talk about some of the benefits of lending our resources to our local agencies?
Absolutely. One thing that people don't understand is in order to run a business, a community, a church, a school, you have to have funding. It's not going to work. You can have as many people, you can have as many ideas, you can put in work, but you have to understand the resources cost money. Food costs money. So, for example, if you're going to do a food bank for the community, or if you're going to give out food, the food's not free.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to fund it. And you have to think about it. The state or your community can't fund everything because eventually they're going to run out of money. They need the help from the community. So it's not that we want to just use people for their money or take their money. It's actually going somewhere. It's going to charities. It's going to housing programs. It's going to schools. It's going to mentorships and helping the youth, like I said, with education and different programs. And I think that's just important. I think it's important to let it be known where people's money and funding and where it's going so they know, and so they won't have to second guess like, oh, I'm giving my money, but where is it going and how is it being, how's it affecting my community? I do think that just outreach and funding local businesses can help keep money flowing within the community to establish some sort of financial stability.
No, I definitely agree. Because these are the people. At the end of the day, like if you're struggling to get a roof over your head, if you're struggling to get that meal, wondering where your meal's going to come, or struggle to feed your kids, these are going to be the people that are able to help you first and foremost. And if they don't have the funding, then they can't do nothing.
Absolutely.
Money, unfortunately, money does make the world go round.
Right. So. And I think as a community, we love when people are doing giveaways, especially like around the time where school starts. We're doing backpack giveaways, school supplies, lunches, lunch boxes, and things like that. But people have to understand that stuff costs money. The companies are not just giving it away for free. I mean, some of them are donating. It's a joy to have when people or companies or high companies are donating. That's great. But people have to understand that it costs money. Nothing in this world is technically free. It has to be funded somehow. So I think just when the people kind of understand it from that point of view, it'll make it easier for people to want to contribute, because if you have children, if you have family, you would want to help them. And sometimes it does take a little money, to help get it going or help get it started so it can be successful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, it seems so much easier to make change that you want to see on a local level versus that national level. So therefore creating a community that you desire to live in. I'm thinking like Black Wall Street, or even more modern like Atlanta, where there's known as like the Black Mecca, for us and stuff like that. Yeah. So can you just walk us through ways that we can accomplish things like that?
Absolutely. I think the main thing is people have to get involved, whether it's volunteering, whether it's just simple outreach or just advertising, anything to help build your community. Also, mentor programs, getting our youth involved and being leaders and mentors for them. Like I said before, some kids need that. Some kids need that to get on the right path. Also just like doing things like cleanups, helping the environment. Some people need help with those things, even just like helping your neighbor with things that they like. For example, during the hurricanes, usually what we'll do is nobody has to tell us, hey, get up and help your neighbor. We will get active. We do whatever we need to do. We provide water, we provide food, we provide just simple supplies for helping them clean up from, like when the storm comes and destroys things. So just things like that, just getting active. And also when you involve the youth and you start them up from a young age in doing that, then they'll learn the importance of helping your neighbor or helping your community. It has to start young though, because as an older person, sometimes we're not going to want to feel like doing it, and we may not see the purpose of doing it. But just doing things like that, having different programs, having different activities in the community so the people can be involved and actively involved and want to be involved. I think we just have to come together. We have to put aside the unnecessary drama, the unnecessary things that don't really contribute to our community, or like the negative things. And we have to think as one, because we are stronger together. And I think people just sometimes they let other things come in between that. And they have to realize that we all are, for example, citizens of Syracuse. So there needs to be a time where we need to come together as a unit to represent Syracuse. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to represent Syracuse and not be together, but it's an even better thing when we are sticking together and being one together so we can represent the city in the best way that we can. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I feel like it's always city against city, but we've got to be together in the city to represent our city and be strong together. So just doing that can actually empower our community so that when we have different things, people from other cities will want to come and be active. There you go. That's outreach. That's outreach to other cities. So we can get help from them. We can get funding from them. But if we're not doing it within ourselves, if it doesn't start with us for the people who actually live here, why would other cities want to help us? Why would other people from other counties and different cities want to help us if we as a community won't do it for ourselves? Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I do I like how you I forgot. It was something that you had said, and I was gonna comment on it, but I can't remember right now. Yeah, but so I guess we'll just move on then. So with this new administration, one of the things they're prioritizing is immigration. Yes. And it can definitely be disheartening as it rips through our communities and tear those communities apart. However, we have seen communities support their immigrant populations, such as what happened in Chicago, the school in Chicago, when it wasn't ICE, but it was like Secret Service coming to talk to the student, and the school had policies in place and stuff like that. Even working at Syracuse City School District, they put policies out for us, and stuff. So just seeing how our communities are coalescing around their immigrant populations. Should we be fighting this hard for our immigrant population despite the backlash from our own U.S. government?
Absolutely. I wouldn't care who it was. If you're a part of our community, we stand with you. We are there on the front line for you as well, because I would want someone to do it for me. I would want someone to do it for my kind as well. And I don't think it's fair that they should be cut short of resources and help and having a better life, because that's why they're here, to create a better life for themselves, their families, their children, for future generations. And because of where they're from, I just don't think it's fair that because they're from there, they can't have dreams to be better. And what better place than America?
Yeah.
We help all these other countries out, but why can't we help the people who come here to work and to have better lives for themselves? And I just think taking that away from them is totally unfair. And I think we should be standing for them. I think we should be supporting them, because, like I said, these are people too. They get up, they work hard just like we do. Mm-hmm. And in order for them to become citizens, they got to be here. It's not just, sign a piece of paper and I'm a citizen. You have to be here. You have to put a certain amount of work and hours in, and you have to have residency here. So in order for them to become citizens, they got to be here. And I understand it's a safety issue, but even us as Americans, we're a safety issue to ourselves as well. Mm-hmm. So just because these people are from other countries, I don't think it's fair that they shouldn't be able to, because some Americans venture out for better living. So just imagine yourself in those shoes, trying to go to another country for better living, and they decide, because you're from America, you can't be here. You can't be a citizen here. You can't. It doesn't matter how much work you put in. It doesn't matter how much money you fund and put into the community. You can't. Yeah. And that wouldn't be fair. That would hurt. Because what if you're trying to have a better life, like I said, for yourself or your children? You would want that same opportunity. So I think that we should definitely be supporting them. We should definitely be encouraging them. Unfortunately, when it comes to certain laws and policing, and I know we can only go so far, but I do think that we should be encouraging, like I said, supporting them and helping them and just letting them know that we're here for them too, and they're not alone.
Yeah. And I think, when you talk about the safety part of it, mm-hmm. I feel like there's a whole lot of false narrative just even around that piece of it, because when you think about violent crime, 80% of it is executed by white nationalists, white supremacists. They're the ones that's committing these crimes. Mm-hmm. But when we look in the media, we look at what's portrayed, we look at the rhetoric of our current administration, it's always the immigrants. They're the ones that's, raping our women. They're the ones that pillaging our villages. And they're the ones that's ripping away from our resources. Yeah. And they're the ones that's taking those resources from American people and stuff like that. Right. But it's, it's all a false narrative and stuff like that. And I think, so I do agree with you. We should be fighting for them because, it's like, for example, if somebody was to slander our name, we would, if somebody slandered my mama's name, or somebody close to our family, we going to war behind them. Mm-hmm. So we should go to war behind these people that pour so much to our community. Because immigrants, they actually pour millions of dollars into taxes and revenue for our country. And stuff like that. So if they're that much of a benefit, we should be fighting for them. We should want them, I would think, common sense would tell me we should want them, here.
And that's so, that's a good point that you touched on with the whole safety issue. Like I said, anyone, whether you're an American citizen or not, or from another country, anyone is capable of committing a crime. Mm-hmm. Young and old. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't matter where you're from. Like you said, a lot of crimes are committed by Caucasians. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the times that stuff is swept under the rug. They don't want it to be known that those crimes are mostly committed by them. Even drugs throughout the community, it's mostly with Caucasians. Mm-hmm. And as a minority, I think we should at least stand for other minorities as well, because we know how it feels as Black people. We know how it feels to be looked at as the problem and looked at as the, leader of these crimes, leader of the drugs in the community, all these things that the media portrays us to be. And like I said, I think us as minorities, we know how it feels. Mm-hmm. So I do think that we should stand in support because, like I said, they're minorities as well. And it's kind of like a us against them. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it is like that. We wouldn't want division. But like I said, if the Caucasians would just understand that we are all capable of committing a crime, there would be no need to pinpoint on, this race, that's their safety issue. They commit all these crimes. And honestly, I think it's to keep from having diversity. Mm. I don't think they understand that when you have other people from different countries, different of nationalities and all of that, we're creating diversity. Mm. And that's what diversity is. Hence why the whole DEI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. So now I want to shift focus to Syracuse, our community.
Yes.
Because in Syracuse, we have an exciting opportunity on the horizon.
Yes.
Micron will be moving some of their operations here,
Yes.
which will be $1 billion investment into our community. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about why this is a good thing for the local community and how investing in your local community can lead to these type of investments to begin with?
Yes, I think it's a wonderful thing for Syracuse. I think anything, well, specifically Micron is created to help create a more sustainable environment. I think that's very important in the town of Syracuse because there are issues. There's clearly things that need improvement. And I do see it in the community, but it takes a little more. And I think that's where Micron comes in. It's going to open up job opportunities. It's going to help with infrastructure. It's going to help advance technology in the town of Syracuse. And I think that's exactly what we need because a lot of going back to the youth, they're being cut short because of the lack of resources and a lack of access they have to these things. And I feel like building up a company and supporting a company like Micron is going to help allow the citizens and the people gain access. And it makes it easier for them to have these resources so they can thrive in this community and have a better chance just like everybody else. So I think that's very important.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Especially, with Syracuse having, just for example, with the lead, that's in the water and stuff like that. That's a big thing.
That's a big thing.
With Syracuse, and so it's hurting our children, it's hurting our babies.
Yes.
And they're, like we talk about, they're the future. And so if we are continue to harm our babies, then we won't have a future to look forward to.
Right.
So having, these type of investments can definitely help propel those type of projects, where we can get clean water for our children and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's things like that. We should have clean water. We should be able to have access to fresh produce. You know what I'm saying? Because those things help the mind and the body. So if we don't have the correct things like that, like clean water, fresh produce, the right things to put into our body, how can we be able to operate or function as human beings?
Yeah.
When they are injecting our foods with chemicals, that's having an effect on our bodies. That's not allowing us to be able to function and go to work and to be able to get through a day without feeling tired or overly exhausted and just worn down. So I think that's going to help with making sure we get the access to things that we should have, like clean water. There should be no excuse why the city provides water, but it's not clean.
Yeah.
So why would we want it? That makes sense. So you might as well not even provide it, because if it's going to be something harmful, you can keep it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to provide water for the city, at least have clean water.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we want something that's going to harm us or that's going to affect us negatively to where we can't even function? Yeah. So I think things like Micron is going to help. And like I said, give the citizens of the community access to the proper things that they need.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So now I want to shift focus once again. And this one is something that just happened more relevantly. So I want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So we just saw the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure everybody was tuned in. And I just got to say that something like the Super Bowl is such a great investment for the city of New Orleans. They use, Southern University, which is a local HBCU in that state. So they use their band to perform. And they had students from the local high school form a choir to perform the Negro National Anthem with Legacy, for example. So those are some examples of how, the local community got involved in such a big project.
Yes.
And so can you just talk about why having the platform of the largest stage in the world come to your community can be a good thing, and ways that the local community can be involved to contribute to such a massive event like that?
Absolutely. I think it's a wonderful thing that those students were able to have that moment. That's a once in a lifetime moment that they probably may not get again. Hopefully they will. I think it is important though when small communities are given the chance to be able to be seen by the people of this nation, because that can create more opportunities for them in the future. Like I said, I hope they get another opportunity. I hope they advance. That could help with funding for their school or their program, their choirs or their bands, get them You never know. They may need new uniforms or new instruments one day. And them being there, that lets the world know we're here too. We're involved. We matter too. And just personally, being that one of the famous rappers, he's from my community. Actually, we grew up right across the street from each other, D-Lo. When he did a photo shoot in our neighborhood, it wasn't to be flashy. It wasn't to show. It was to let the people know, because I'm from a small town. Nobody's ever heard of Fort Sloan, Florida. Nobody even knows what that is. But when he was able to do a video shoot and he allowed everyone, whoever wanted to come, they could be in the video. And that right there gave us the opportunity to let them know we're here too. Port Salerno matters, to put us on the map. Yeah. And now people are aware of this town, and it exposes not only just him, but the other talents in that community, other people who can have an effect in this world and become big, or celebrities, or, anything. It just shows that it's not just one person in that community that has talent. It opens up the many talents in that community. And I think that's very important, because, like I said, that allows other people to have the opportunity to shine. And I think that's important.
Oh, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I agree with that. It reminds me, with Beyonce when she did Beachella,
Look at that.
how she, had local talent come in. And, she had HBCU bands.
Right.
And there's one thing I will say I do like about, a lot of our Black celebrities. They do tend to, come and get the HBCUs involved, because HBCUs are heavily underfunded in America compared to the PWI peers. And so I do appreciate that.
Right.
And so when we have something like the Super Bowl, which is the world stage, and they can get that exposure on that world stage, it definitely couldn't help with the finance, because these states aren't investing into these colleges they're investing into other colleges, stuff like that, so they can get outside investments.
Yes, and it also prepares them, because these kids, you never know which route they'll take. You never know how far they'll go and how big they'll be. That's preparing them for those future opportunities. Also just knowing how to perform and being mature and handling that type of business and that type of performance. That's something they can put on their resume and let somebody know, hey, I've done this before. I've been on the stage for the Super Bowl. They're going to look at that and be like, wow, you can, be active and effective in our next project. Then, since you've had that experience, that can help us, give you the experience, or that can help you give the experience for the project we have next for you. So it's definitely opening opportunities for you. So.
Definitely. And then, speaking of Super Bowl, I want to talk about Kendrick's performance, because I love Kendrick Lamar, and I do think that his performance was very masterful. And he touched on so many topics that plague our local communities, such as mass incarceration and assimilation, just to name a few things.
Yes.
So how can having someone with that massive a platform speak on these topics help us in the fight for better in our local communities?
I think it helps a lot, because I think the things that we experience as African Americans, it does go unnoticed. Sometimes it feels like it's being unheard. A lot of people feel like, well, y'all have been talking about this for years, since slavery. Oh, it's old now. That's not okay. And I appreciate Kendrick Lamar for, getting that message across through his performance, because you can get a message across through many different ways. And he's using his talents, his capabilities to relay that message to the people through singing and through performance and dance and stage presence. And I think that's important, because you see how many people are tuning into this song. It's not just us, people around the world. That gives them the opportunity to listen to exactly what he's saying. And maybe that message can get through people through them listening to the song. Because sometimes how a message is delivered or portrayed, people may not care to even listen. If what Kendrick Lamar said in a classroom, people will probably just be bored. But being that he's relaying that message through something that they can relate to, like music, it gives the people an opportunity to actually listen to what he's saying and listen to that message and take heed to that. Because, like I said, I feel like it goes unnoticed. A lot of people don't really care to keep hearing about the things that we go through, because, of their own opinions of it. But like I said, being that he's a celebrity, being that he has the voice to do it in the different ways, like I said, through his music, through his lyrics, through poetry, through his writing capabilities, he can get that message across and be able to connect with them on a music level as well.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. So, what are some additional ways that people can invest in their communities to ensure an equitable distribution of resources?
I think, like we said earlier, just being active in your community, supporting local businesses, helping kids with mental health, that's a big thing as well. Also, doing different things like food banks, cleanups, just doing different things to help build your community. And it's all about, like I said, coming together. So no matter how big or how small, just doing an act of kindness like we just had at church, doing those little things can help contribute to having a better community and making your community feel loved and involved and welcome. And like I said, when you have a community, you want people to come in and you want people to come in and help as well. So, but it has to start with the people who are already there, who are born there, and they have to set the example for the children or for the people and for the future. So I think just being active and just supporting and making your voice heard, like I said, going to town meetings, sitting down, addressing the issues, whether it be financial issues or policies and laws and schools and different things to just help make a stronger community. Like I said, we just have to get active. We really do. We have to get out and we have to make our voice heard in order for somebody to hear us and want to create that change.
Yeah, I agree. So get out there and get involved. Okay. Yes. Well, that's the best way, because the more you get involved, the more you're able to make connections with people, and you never know where those connections will take you.
Yes. And that's why I love our church. Yeah. Because our church is actively involved in the community and it draws people in, because it's not just about, obviously our main purpose here is to draw people to Christ. But when you make the community feel welcomed and you show them that love and that care, like we care for you guys, even if you don't believe in Christ right now, okay, that's fine. We're still accepting you for you and we want you to come in. And I think a lot of people look at the church like, oh, they don't want people in, people don't want to join churches. But when your church is involved in the community, that draws the community in. And then you can push them closer to Christ. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of doing killing, two birds with one stone. Yeah. And not only are you drawing them closer to Christ, but you're also making them feel welcome. Because like I said, a lot of people don't have that love at home. A lot of people don't know where to go to feel involved or included. And I think that's why I said it's important to get involved in your schools, your churches, your leaders of your community, and let them know that you're here so they can open the doors, so they can welcome you in and help you feel welcome and get you involved as well.
Yeah, I agree. So now, is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yes, I think as youth, whether young or old, I think we just have to appreciate our community, appreciate what we have, and also understand that it takes more than one person to get to a higher level. We sit around and we talk about what we want. We want more barbecues. We want more, parades in the community. But it's got to be more than one person to do it. It takes more than one person having an idea. We have to come together collectively and we have to show love for our own community. Like I said, it starts here before we can branch out and go anywhere else. I think it would be a nice thing just to see us come together as a community and have a peaceful day. No violence, no fighting, no acting out, no, you know what I'm saying? Just us, because like I said, that's the type of things that I grew up experiencing in my community, and it just makes it feel like home. Even if you're not from the area, but you decide to be a part, it makes it feel like home. And those are just the little things, like just getting active, like you said, and actually caring about your neighbor, caring about your home, caring about your neighbor's home. You know what I'm saying? Like littering and things like that. That's not showing that you care about your neighborhood or about your community. It's just small things like that. Just keeping it clean, and like I said, when we start doing it, then that'll show people like higher ups who want to fund that. it shows them that we care about where we live. So then they'll want to help us. Mm-hmm. But nobody's going to want to help us if we're not going to help our own selves. Mm-hmm. We've got to do better. We've got to care more about where we're raising our children.
Yeah.
And just like with the gun violence and, different violences around the neighborhood, that's not caring about our children. Mm-hmm. Because our children can be in the way of any bullet.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just thinking about the next person. Sometimes you have to be considerate. Yeah. Of others, so others can be considerate of you, and it creates a better environment, not only for us but for our children, mainly for our children.
Yeah,
mainly. So just coming from a community where that's a big thing, where we are active, we care about one another. It would just be nice to see more of that here in Syracuse. So
yeah, that's no, I definitely agree. Yes. Because this is our home. Essentially, this is where mm-hmm. we're raising families. This is where we're spending our money. Mm-hmm. This is where we're finding the love of our lives and stuff like this. Yeah. And so if we don't take care of it, and because I always have this saying, when it comes to like my car, or when it comes to my residence or whatever, mm-hmm. I'm like, if I don't take care of my car can't take care of me. If I don't take care of my house can't take care of me. Mm-hmm. It's gonna get raggedy, it's gonna get run down, mm-hmm. and then when it's cold outside, I don't have any heat. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be upset, because I don't have any heat now.
Right.
And so you just gotta take care of what's yours. Mm-hmm. And that's something my parents always told me when I first got my car. Yes. They was like, now that you're paying for it on your own, yes. you're gonna see, and you're gonna move different mm-hmm. about how you take care of it.
That's true.
So once you're invested into something, mm-hmm. I truly believe, you move a little differently. You get more involved in how it's taken care of.
Absolutely, yes. And I think another important thing, just one last thing, is also teaching the history of the community. Mm-hmm. We need to know where we're coming from.
Yeah.
We need to know how things were established here.
Yeah.
We need to know the foundation of our community. So I think just also pushing our history, teaching the culture and the history and of the community is important. So we can appreciate what our ancestors did for us and how much work that they put in to build Syracuse or whatever community that you're in.
Yeah.
I think it's important just to be able to appreciate the work that they put in, so you can say, you know what, if I put in some work too, maybe I can have an effect. Not even maybe, you will have an effect on building your community. But I also think it's just important just understanding the foundation of it, the basics of it, and how it came about.
Yeah.
So people know how to move in the direction to keep that going, to make our ancestors proud, because we don't want their work to be in vain. Yeah. We don't want to be unappreciative of what they did and allow our community to just be nothing.
Yeah.
When they sacrificed a lot for us to be here today. Yeah. So I think that's also important, because, if they don't appreciate what they did then, why would they want to do anything now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's important.
So during this Black History Month, remember, Black history is American history.
Yes.
So listen, while you are all out here investing in your local communities, mm-hmm. also be sure to invest in your mental health.
Yes.
Which is the most important thing. Yes. So what I want everybody to do is stay tuned for our very next episode, which will be for everyone as we talk about mental health in our community. And this sounds for real, y'all. We will actually talk about mental health next week. I know I said it was going to be this week, but like I said, we had to shift the schedule, so we will actually talk about it next week. Let's get warm.
Yes.
Where the Babies Kodak is hosted by Aldrich K. It is recorded, edited, and produced by Aldrich K. LLC. Thank y'all, and thank you, Morgan.
Thank you.